Hey y'all, I'm Wilson. Welcome to my little shop here. I got some panels I'm working on today. It's tongue and groove panels I'm working on getting put together. These are for a project of mine. I got a dresser and a couple of bedside tables. And these are going to be the tops. It's actually going to be a wraparound top. I've got 4 of these panels to put together. I've already done 2. I've got 2 left. I am seriously short on clamps, so I'm just doing one at a time. So I'm gonna do a little video on this one. I'm gonna stick y'all up here. I'm gonna stick y'all up here on my little custom camera stand, and we're gonna get started. Like I say, I'm just gluing these together. I'm trying to go step by step on all the little projects I got. So this is one. Y'all keep watching and y'all see what happens at the end. But I'm fixing to get these put together right now. This was old pine paneling from a buddy of mine's house. He ripped it all out, gave it all to me, remodeled his house. But anyway, it's old pine paneling. It's probably from the early 70s, maybe late 60s, something like that. So it's probably 50 years old or so. What it was a tongue and groove paneling, had a little bead on one side. I ripped the bead off, ripped it into boards, planed it down, and then put me a new tongue and groove on it. So now I'm making panels out of it. So let's get started here. First thing, I put me some boards down. I put some boards down to catch the glue. That way it don't get all on my table saw, because that's what I'm working on. This is my table saw here. I put some boards down. I got me 2 clamps set up to get started with. I've got everything set out. Now when I ran these boards, I put a number on each one. I've got 4 panels. So I've got boards for panel number 3 set up right here. I had them all labeled with a number. I had 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. This is working on the 3rd panel. I got them all labeled right there. I labeled them so I would make sure I knew which side was which. Because when you're running them through the router to do the tongue and the groove, you need to make sure you got it lined up. You need to make sure you know which side is which so you can run the same side for each one. I did that, got my boards laid down, got my clamps laid down. Next thing was get it all laid out, blow it out, make sure when you're starting out, make sure you blow that groove real good. Get all the dust out of that groove so that everything will tighten up just right like it should. Now I've got these setting out like I want them to go. So I'm gonna stand them all up right here. This is how I do it. Everybody's got a little different method to how they do different things. I got them all right there. I got my glue right here. I'm all set and ready to go. I blew everything out. I've already checked everything. I've got 2 boards. I don't know if you can see them off to the side. I've got 2 boards over here to the side that I'm going to set on each side so that my clamps don't dig into the board. And this is how I do it. I'm just gonna take this board, give me a bead on one side of that tongue. Give me a bead on the other side. You gotta be careful with this stuff. Pine's got a lot of splinters in it. If you do anything like this, running your fingers down it, pine's got a lot of splinters, so just be careful. I use my finger for a guide so I can keep the glue bottle where I need it to be. Now, usually if you see me doing panels, I'll take my finger and I'll smear the glue all over the surface. With these being tongue and groove like this, I'm not going to do that. As long as I've got a good bead on each side, when I push these together, it'll coat what I need it to coat. getting out of my routine a little bit, sitting here trying to talk on camera. You never realize how hard it is to do something like these videos until you actually get out there and try it. And it is real awkward trying to do this and trying to talk on camera at the same time. So y'all bear with me. Y'all bear with me there. I'm moving a little slower than I usually do with this. You gotta try to kind of speed up a little bit. You don't need to poke around when you got the glue going. You need to just get out there and roll with it. While I'm doing this, I just let y'all know I appreciate all y'all that's been watching, especially all y'all that's been subscribing and commenting. These videos are going to be kind of drawn out. I got several projects that I'm doing at once. What I'm doing is I gotta get some work done on the shop. But I don't want to move all my stuff back and forth and back and forth. I've been holding on to this scrap wood for a while. So I'm just trying to get everything out of here, just do projects with whatever I've got. I can finish getting this shop put back together and start back off collecting wood from scratch. I don't know how well y'all can hear me over there. I'm trying to talk kind of loud. I keep doing videos. I'm gonna have to get me a different setup. I'm gonna have to get a different setup than just a cell phone, because I like to do videos where I move around the shop. And the further I get away, of course, it's harder for y'all to hear me. Maybe if the videos keep picking up, maybe I'll start to get me some better equipment. Alright, one more. After a couple of these, your fingers start to hurt. Squeezing this glue bottle. Especially when you're old. If you do this a lot, or if you do anything a lot, you'll get a system worked out as far as glue and everything. My glue bottle is trying to get a little clog on that tip. Before I do the next one, I'm going to have to open it up a little bit. About time to get a new glue bottle. No matter what glue bottle you get, those tips are going to wear out after cleaning them a few times. And you can do things like, I keep a wet rag a lot of times. And when I'm done, I'll take the wet rag and wash it off. But it gets kind of awkward sometimes, especially if you're in a rush with glue, something like this. But anyway, let's get back to what we're doing here before this glue dries on me and I'm in a big mess. Now I am getting these set up and just lining up one end. Lining up one end pretty good. Of course, I'm going to have to cut the ends off. But I'm just getting started with one end fairly straight. We're going to take these boards right here. I'm I'm gonna put one there and one there. That way my clamps don't crush this pine. Get my clamps set up there. This one up. And losing my tape measure. Alright, now I got everything right there, so we're gonna see if we can get one side started. So right now I've got it pulled tight. We're just going to start easing it in. Letting these first few boards catch up. Everything looks to be going in pretty good on this side. I'm going to grab my middle clamp. Now that I got this side, I'm going to get a clamp in the middle. I'm going to work them towards the end. As you can see, I had one that started to pick up right there. That means it wasn't going in the groove right. And I'm looking right here, and it's not in the groove yet on this side. Sometimes you gotta work them a little bit. I don't want to crush that tongue though, so I got it up so far. And I'm going to back my clamp off and catch another bite here and see if I can actually get that started right there. If I can get that started on that end, I start getting this clamp, and there it goes. Pulling it right up. Now that I've got that pulling up, this middle clamp should keep it going just like I want it right there. Alright, now I need to get these started on in this groove before I get too far. So I'm going to get that tightened up and start clamping these on down. Alright, there it goes. There we go. Sometimes you gotta jiggle them a little bit and give it a little bump. Watch and see which boards are pulling up and which boards ain't. Get them started, come back to your other clamps. I'm going to loosen this one back up. Catch another bite there and tighten it on up. There we go. Some of them starting to get tight. I've still got a little gap right there in the middle, but everything's going together good. Alright, catch us another bite there. Let's get this end pulled on up. And when you're clamping, you don't want to over clamp. You don't want to clamp it so tight that it pushes all the glue out. But you want to make sure that you get it snug to where all the cracks are pulled out. So you see the glue popping out there. So that's just the crack pulling up. There we go. Now that one got it. Now I've got my middle board pulled on up. I'm going to loosen this back up, catch another bite. And get this tightened on up. Everything is going in like it should. Got to put a little pressure on it to get them all to pull up where they need to be. But you shouldn't have to put just everything you've got into it. There we go. Now it's coming in. Alright, now I'm seeing all my cracks are pulling up. All my cracks are pulling up there. This end, all my cracks are pulling up, my glue's mashing out. Woo! Kind of humid in here. We just had a good storm last night and it's still super humid. Sun's coming out and starting to warm it up. I've got a couple of extra clamps I'm going to put right here on the middle just to give it a little extra. It looks like it's pulled up, but I'm just going to snug these up. Now these clamps right here, well, y'all are right there. I'm going to tell you, I bought these clamps a little while ago. The clamps aren't bad, but when I bought them, they're real cheap. When I bought them, I noticed one of these was actually, the screw was bent. I was able to bend it back by hand, no problem. So it's real weak metal in that screw. And these bars, if you're going to get a clamp that's 3 foot, 2 foot or 3 foot, anything like that, get a bigger bar than this one's got. This bar is so flimsy. I bought these because I really needed some clamps and they were cheap. I didn't have a whole lot of money at the time. So they did what I needed them to do and they still work. But if I had to do it over again, I would not spend the money. Y'all can probably see how that's bowing right there. And it don't matter if it bows a little bit, but it's not like a good solid bar. It don't get you the clamping power that you really need. But they work in a pinch. Alright, anyway, that's the panel. Now one thing I was going to go over with you was the glue. A lot of times, smaller panels, I'll keep a wet rag and I'll just wash the glue off as soon as I build it. Wash everything off and then set the panel to the side because I'm taking the panel and running it through the planer. These panels, I'm not going to be running through the planer. I'm going to be running belt sander on them. If I wash the glue, it's going to smear a lot of it all over top of the board, and then that'll really gum up my belt sander. I want to keep the glue off there as much as possible. Now, if I wait till the glue dries, and then take something like a chisel, just keep you a good chisel. Don't have to be a real good chisel, just an old chisel that you can beat up, but keep it sharp. Once the glue dries, you can take and you can just scrape that glue right off. But if the glue gets too dry, you're trying to get it, you can gouge into the wood with that chisel just trying to dig it off. The best thing I found, the best way I found to do it, is to let this thing sit for a couple hours. You'll see that glue start to solidify, but it'll still be cloudy on the inside. You can take that chisel while it's still halfway dry and just run down it real quick. It'll take the whole thing off. You'll have a little wet glue on your chisel that you have to clean off, but it'll take care of that glue no problem. Alright, throw that down before I cut myself with it. That's my panel. That's the way that's done, or that's the way I do it. Everybody does things a little different. But anyway, that is that. I appreciate y'all watching. Like I say, I'm just going step by step. Those are my frames over there. Those are my frames. They're alder. I'm going to do those a dark color. And then these, I've got a specific thing I want to do to them. It's going to be a little different. I like to do some oddball stuff here and there. But I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do just yet. I'm just going to hold off. I'm going to keep on doing videos on this till we get to the finished product. And I got some more stuff I'm working on too. I just pulled these out. I'm going to do a couple little shelves with these. I've got a panel right there, and I got 2 of these. If y'all can see it, I'm spinning y'all around, flipping you back and forth, and you can't even see. But I got two of those panels that are rejects. They were supposed to be the ends for an island, but they're not. I'm going to turn them into a couple of little matching bookcases. But that's for another video. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a good one, and I'll see y'all on the next one.